Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line, he's going to be at Hoyt Sherman on November 22nd, Steve Vai. Welcome to the show, Steve. How are we doing today in Southern California?
Right on. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. And what's that?
No, I was going to say it's nice and hot here. I bet it's nice and hot where you are.
Well, like we were talking about off the air, we're in that last gasp of summer where it's going to be 1,000 degrees and then all of a sudden it'll drop off and all of a sudden it'll be winter. So, Steve, as we were talking about off the air, you're going to be on tour this coming fall, and I want to get to that because you are coming to Des Moines. But I was looking through your website and stuff. You're big into music education.
Yeah, I was always one of those guys that wanted to understand music, the written language of music, and because I like the idea of composition. So that was fascinating to me since I was a little boy. And, most people would be doodling pictures or, this kind of thing. And I was always drawing little notes and trying to write music.
I liked your one video where you were talking about, do you need to know a lot about music theory to be a good musician? You're like, no, you really don't, but it's not a bad idea. I like that video.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of question I got asked a lot. And I always felt that if you're interested in it, you're going to seek it out and you're going to retain it.
Yeah.
If you're not interested in it, it'll just, you might even learn some of it, but it'll never really stick. The thing that's most important is really your inner ear, how you're hearing melodies, how you're imagining songs and atmospheres and intensities or melodies, and having a little bit, at least a little bit of understanding of the language. I always recommend that. But really, it's your imagination and your inner ear that is at the core of your effectiveness as a musician.
Hey, Steve, let me ask you this. I've got a 7-year-old. He just started piano lessons not too long ago. He has a guitar. Like, he has an interest in music, but as a 7-year-old, it's kind of hard to get him to focus. And I'm not saying I want him to spend every waking minute practicing or anything like that, but he does have a passion for it. But how do you get that focus right at the beginning to say, you know what, if you practice, you're going to be able to do this, this, and this?
Well, there's various ways, but that is a good way, and it's also I've noticed that if you really show interest for the things that they find interesting, then that encourages them. And then when you nurture that, they get the feeling of empowerment in what they're doing. The difficult thing for a lot of parents sometimes is we believe that, if you have a child that wants to play the guitar or something like that, they might need to go through some other training first, or maybe that's not right for them and they shouldn't do it, or if they're going to do it, they should do it like this. And, maybe that kind of guidance sometimes can be misguidance,
Yeah.
Because the interest of the child is really the thing that's going to perpetuate the desire to dig deeper, go further, and it's finding the enthusiasm in what you're doing that makes the practicing turn more into like a passion than discipline. Discipline for a kid means they got to apply something and they got to fight and they got to work hard. But there's another way to do it. And that's by just joyfully going after exactly what's interesting to you, and that's when people rise to their potential.
It's just interesting. He genuinely likes music, and he likes playing the piano. He likes, trying to be a rock star on the guitar. I mean, he doesn't even know how to hold it proper. But I mean, it's one of those. It's just.
Would you say he's 7?
He's 7. Yeah.
Well, you know what I.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say what I noticed also with young people that are interested in music in general. They're not quite. They don't quite have their goals set, but they know that they like music, and they may pick up an instrument for a while. I saw that a lot when I went to Berkeley, because we were 18, 19. And then what happens is, as you start navigating the music business, it's not uncommon that a person finds something that makes more sense to them, that resonates with them more within the business, like perhaps being an engineer or a producer, or a music business attorney, or an agent, or a manager. All these things become available, and then some people will continue with the instrument because that's their interest, but then they may see something like producing and go, oh, I get that. I know what that is. I feel like I can do that. And then they just gravitate to it. So, yeah, nurturing his musical interests is good, and they may change. They may change, and they may go into a part of the business that doesn't even necessarily include playing the instrument. But having said that, I think everybody should play the guitar. Everybody should try it, because
what's hard for me is I want to learn how to play guitar, and I can kind of, muddle my way through a few things. But my first instrument was saxophone, and it's such a completely different world. Thinking about it, that there's parts of the guitar that make, just in my head, make no sense.
Right.
So
yeah, me too.
I'm willing to bet a little bit of money that you know the musical world a little bit better than I do. Steve Vai joining me on the line. I appreciate it so much. I will pass that along to the kid. And like I don't want it to seem like I'm forcing music upon this. He genuinely does like music. It's just I want him to get where he wants to go, and I'm not sure he knows that yet, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job.
Mom is the one who sits with him, and I think she's learning more about piano than he is right now, so...
Okay.
Steve Vai on the line with me right now. He's going to be at Hoyt Sherman November 22nd. We've got details at kggo.com. Steve, I was looking through your stuff, and man, you've been a part of about every band out there. What are we going to get when you come to town in November?
Well, when you find something you're interested in when you're young, and you just stick with it, you have a tendency to evolve it and develop it a bit. And a lot. You can develop it a lot. And although, physically things can change. I mean, I'm 62 now, but you discover other things. You discover what I focus on is just getting deeper into the note and connecting it with the audience. That for me is really the gist, and I love that. And that gets deeper and deeper for me every year. And I just got off a European tour, and I didn't know what to expect when we got on stage, because it was 6 years since our last tour. And I was so pleasantly surprised with the way I was playing, and just connecting with the notes and the audience, and the feel of the audience was different. And a lot of the people that come to my shows, they know what they're going to get, a lot of melody and lead guitar. But, you can bask in the melodies, and it's a very uplifting kind of experience, because it's music, and we have a good time. We really have a great time, and we play the heck out of our instruments, and we involve the audience. And it's especially now, it's just nice to go out and hear music and feel the energy coming from the stage. And that's what we offer. It's just we're service providers.
How's playing the guitar different for you now than it was, let's say, 6 years ago?
It's not much different. I always look for my voice more and more on the instrument. Meaning I'm always searching for phrasings and melodies and little techniques that are just a little left of center, so to speak. They're not inaccessible. But and then ideas like on this last record in Violet. I mean, it's got some of my most challenging guitar playing. There's a piece on there called Candle Power that's very different for me, and it's nice to hear. But there's also a piece called Knapsack, where I play the entire track with one hand, because I had a shoulder surgery and I couldn't use my right hand. And then there's a video of that online that's pretty entertaining. And then there's a track called Teeth of the Hydra, where I had this monstrous guitar built. It's called the Hydra, and it's got 3 necks and harp strings.
What?
And and if you go online and you Google Teeth of the Hydra, you'll see the video. I will say it's pretty fascinating, because I wanted to incorporate the entire instrument in the song, so it's pretty wild to watch, because there's all these necks and I'm playing them all. So that I probably could have done that 6 years. I could have done it when I was 21.
Yeah.
But it took decades and decades for that idea to develop. and then come to fruition in the song Teeth of the Hydra. So that's like a peak performance for me at 62, so I'm not complaining.
Steve, that guitar looks like reality broke. And like 3 guitars,
well, watch
like
the video.
Yeah.
That looks like reality broke.
That's amazing. Steve Vai on the line with me right now, just breaking reality with me as they're coming to town here in November. Steve, with all the going back to the education stuff and what we were just talking about there, what do you like? What's your warm up? What's the thing you still, I've got to get this right? What's the thing that kind of sticks out in your head? Maybe it's the thing that Steve Vai's never been able to completely do 100% on the guitar. What do you work on?
Well, I work, there's various things you work on. There's the academics, which is learning the song. Your fingers go here, make sure you got it down. But really what I work on is performing in a state in what I call the ultra zone,
Okay.
where you're not thinking, you're very present with the instrument. And when that happens, your inner ear is kind of like connecting with your fingers in a very organic way. And the music that's when it comes the best. It's a very challenging, rope to walk, because the mind is always kind of throwing thoughts in there that can derail you. But the best performances you'll ever see from any artist or when you're at your best doing something creative, it's always because your focus is relaxed and high beamed right on what you're doing. Your attention is on what you're doing. It's not on what are people thinking, what's going to happen after the show, what if I make a mistake. These are all just like the little thoughts that derail you. So, those much more in the background than they used to be. So that's what I focus on. It's kind of like a Zen state, you may say, where you're just supremely present with what you're doing. That's what I work on.
I got to ask, what's your derail moment then that you always look back on? It's like, oh my God, everything fell apart that day.
Which one?
Well, you think about it, every profession has it. You'll have a day where, you look at basketball players where they can't hit a shot. You look at, in radio, there's a day where you just, for whatever reason, can't speak to save your life. What's your moment?
Yeah. Well, okay. So if I'm on stage and I'm playing and I've got some things going on in my head, they can, they can kind of derail you. There's a lot of little intricacies.
Yeah.
Like getting to the pedal board on time, hitting the right buttons. There's all these sequences that have to be kind of like, you can't think about them. They just have to happen.
Yeah.
So if I get derailed, everything goes to hell in a handbasket. I hit the wrong button, the string breaks, and you're just sitting there going, okay, it's one of those moments.
I'm not trying to get you to talk about a bad show or anything. I just think some of those moments are funny, where it's like, oh man,
they are.
I never forget. Whenever anybody breaks a string is one of those moments, because there's always that look for a second of, oh crap, what just happened? You know?
Yeah. I remember this one show. Okay, so I had this guitar many years ago, and I liked the guitar. I liked playing it, but it kept going out. Like it was intermittent. It'd go on and off, and the strings were breaking on it. Because maybe there was something wrong with the saddle. But I was just having so many troubles through the whole tour, and it kept derailing me through almost every night at some point. So we were doing this one show in Boston, and I'm playing, and I'm getting into this one thing, and of course the guitar goes out, right?
Oh.
It just became intermittent again. And I stopped the show. I don't know what. This was just one of those moments, okay?
Yeah.
I stopped the show, and I went up to the mic, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, my guitar is having some trouble, so give me a minute to fix it. And I took the guitar off, and I smashed it into little pieces right there on the stage. I just wailed it, and then I went up to the mic holding like the guitar in two pieces, and I said, now it won't break anymore.
That's wonderful. And let me guess, everybody went nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Rock and roll.
I had a petulant frenzy. They got to see me have a little petulant frenzy right on stage.
There you go. Steve Vai coming to town in November. We'll have the details at kggo.com. Steve, thank you so much for the time, and thank you for the advice on the kid. I appreciate it, man, and good luck with the tour.
Oh, right on.